Well,
Yeah.
welcome to Quiet in the Back.
Shh. I'm your host, Patrick William,
And I'm Austin Jenny.
and we're talking about everything
Everywhere.
all at once.
Holy shit. What a good movie. Oh my God. I've been
So
waiting.
it's, I'll say, by the way, I had no idea what this movie was about going into it. I never read a synopsis.
Yeah.
All I knew was that a bunch of people told me you got to see it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like critically acclaimed. But yeah, I went in completely blind.
That is the way. That is how I watched it the first time. And this is only my second viewing, and I watched it a year ago. So it's almost like new for a lot of that stuff, you know?
It was so cool.
It's crazy.
It's a real like roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a journey that it takes you on.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And the stress turns into confusion, which turns into like comedy and action, which then turns into romance and passion and,
Love,
and cosmic love and like repairing the fractured shards of your breaking family and everything
Everywhere.
gets better.
Yeah, man.
This movie starts out in a pretty like straightforward way, I guess.
Yeah, it's stressful environment. Clearly, you walk into the scene. The moment you're in the scene, it is just anxiety, stress, and you're just appearing into what seems to be like an almost everyday, a normal day for this family.
Right. You've got a woman sitting behind a mountain of papers and receipts.
Yeah, they're
She's
being
furiously like just scratching her head, like looking through receipts.
yeah.
Her and her husband run a laundromat, which
Yeah.
they live above. So their whole world is like right here.
Yeah, which is crazy too. That's
Yeah.
insane to be so self-contained like that.
Right. And they've requested like a small business loan to expand, but because they're doing that, they're being audited
Yes.
first by the
IRS. Yeah.
the IRS. So they're under a lot of pressure on this day.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's dad's birthday?
Grandpa.
Right, her dad.
Yeah, her dad. Yeah, or something. It seems like he had just like gotten into town or something.
Yeah, he flew from China, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Well, I assume it was China.
She said.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she said China.
He flew in from China. He's very old. He's sort of feeble. They're worried about his health. And I think it was his birthday or something like that, but they're celebrating. They're throwing a party for him. And it's very stressful. Her daughter is in town. I think she's in college age.
Yeah, definitely college age
Yeah,
at least.
and she doesn't call, doesn't communicate, but she's back. And she's gay, and she's brought her girlfriend. And Grandpa's not going to understand. He's old school Chinese.
Yeah.
So there's all this like family pressure.
Just instantly. And this is like within the first 3.5 minutes. You're seeing all of this collide at once. The music is racing, and there's just such crazy shots, man. She's just like always moving around onto the next project, doing
It's very
something.
frenetic energy.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Uncut Gems,
That's
the
what you were
Adam
saying.
Sandler movie, where it's just like the combination of camera work, dialogue, character choices, music, all combines to just like give you anxiety.
100%.
And the pacing
That is the goal.
the pacing is really fast too. It's like dragging you into this like aggressive new world.
Yeah, and they're also switching in and out of Chinese and English, like
Yeah.
like in sentences. It's very interesting, and that keeps you like off your balance too. Which is also an interesting take on it.
Right. We've got this one moment where the woman is standing in front of the security monitors for the laundromat.
Yeah.
And on the monitor, you see taking place elsewhere in the store, her husband is like talking to one of the customers, and he's supposed to go get their laundry.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
Yeah, it's not
You just see the husband doing like parkour, like backflips.
He like jumps off of one of the dryers or something and then like does a backflip onto the ground and sprints to the closet real quick.
It's so ridiculous and it just catches you off guard because this is not the tone that the movie has been setting thus far.
At all. And it just focuses in on this. You're just like, why?
Yeah, our camera is slowly zooming in on these monitors and it's following the dad doing all this parkour. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, the next time you see him, he's perfectly normal. He's talking to the customer. Mm-hmm. And it's the first little inkling that you're not watching a regular movie.
Yeah. It's just like, what? It just draws you in so much. Like, what could this possibly be about? What the fuck did he just do?
What just happened? Dude, I was like, what?
I know. And it's just like not acknowledged for a sec either. It's awesome.
So then they go to, I think the next like big moment is the family goes to the IRS office. Mm-hmm. The daughter is supposed to be there to translate, but she's not. So it's just mother, father, grandfather.
Yeah.
And the grandfather's in his wheelchair.
Doesn't speak English, really.
They're all sitting across from the auditor, who is played by Jamie Lee Curtis.
Is that her?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy. She looks different.
She's older now.
Yeah.
But yeah, a very bristly, prickly Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she is mean in this movie.
She is uncompromising and unwavering in her audit.
Yeah, she takes it so seriously.
She's circling receipts. She's like, this is a problem.
Yeah, this right here.
So tell me why you believe you can deduct a karaoke machine for your laundromat business.
I'm a singer too.
So she's like ripping this family. She's implying that they're not going to get the loan. And
well, she's even
if anything, it's fraud.
Yeah, it might even evict them and stuff like
that. Yeah, they're going to definitely get a fine. Yeah. So things are not going well. Oh,
we forgot the elevator though. The elevator is very important.
Yes, before they get to this desk, there's a scene in the elevator on the ride up. The husband just sort of like...
Dude, it's like, he's just like standing there holding grandpa and just... And like looks at her, takes off his glasses and like frantically.
Yeah. He puts an umbrella up against the security camera so no one can watch them.
Yeah. He scribbles on a note really quick.
Clearly this is a different person.
Yes.
Like his mind went away and it was then occupied with like a different mind.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's clear that happens for sure.
The way he's behaving, it's clear that like he's just been possessed. Mm-hmm. And he's furiously trying to convey a message to her that she has to make a choice.
Yeah.
You can go left out of the elevator, go to the desk, do the normal thing that we're planning on doing, or you can go right into the janitor's closet. And I'll show you what happens next.
Yeah, essentially.
And he gives her this headset.
Yeah.
It's like two earpieces.
Yeah, like two like a little bit older style Bluetooth fucking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like very like early 2000s telemarketer. Like
yeah, for sure.
But they're like glowing between like red, blue, and green. Mm-hmm. And he like does a scan with them of her brain. It's like it pulls up an app on his phone. It's like scanning, initializing. And he writes down instructions and then he snaps back out of it.
Yeah. And then they leave the elevator. He just doesn't know that happened. He even says, quick elevator ride.
Yeah.
It's like,
so long story short, during the audit, she's very distracted by the instructions that are on here and by what just happened.
Yeah.
So she goes out on a limb and does the instructions.
Yeah. Step 1 on the instruction is put your switch shoes,
Yeah.
Like, put your put your feet in the wrong shoes. And she does it slowly. And then step 2 is like, imagine yourself in the janitor's closet, right?
Yep. And then press the button on your earpiece.
Once the earpiece turns green, she presses a button. And then we really dive
this
into
movie
it.
Really changes and takes a different direction.
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially her consciousness splits in two. And she has a full another physical body in
the janitor closet.
In the janitor closet, presumably in a separate world, right? Because he says this is just a burner universe.
Yeah, he said we use it to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So it pulled her consciousness into the body of a different version of her in a different universe, a burner universe.
Yeah, dude.
And he goes on to explain to her that he is from the Alpha universe that first discovered and invented the technology to traverse the multiverse.
Yeah.
They call it verse jumping.
Yeah.
And that there is a multiversal threat menacing the multiverse that they are trying to stop. And the scene goes back and forth between her split consciousness trying to focus on the IRS audit meeting, which is very important to her. That's her reality. And it's like everything for their family. And then this janitor closet reality where she is now receiving information telling her that this is a multiverse threat, and she's important. She's a critical
she's
role.
The one that invented it in the Alpha universe.
And something about her is just like she's just more suited to doing this than other people, and she's very important to stopping this multiversal threat.
And like he's really emphasizing like there's nothing else that could be more important than this right now.
And then you're seeing in the meeting, Jamie Lee Curtis is like, there's nothing else that I could imagine that would be more important to you than this.
She like laughs too. It's like, you think this is funny? It's kind of, man.
I think what happens next is in the burner universe, like a villain verse hops into that universe and starts like attacking them.
Goes the hands like start punching through the door, one on the other side too, and then finally it rips what's his face, the husband through the door. And it's Jamie Lee Curtis in another universe.
It's a Curtis variant.
It is a Curtis variant. And she has a big black circle on her head right here. And she kills the husband and then kills Evelyn, the mom. And she kind of like goes back into just her singular, more permanent reality.
And she is struggling to cope with what she has just experienced.
Yeah, for sure. She's freaking out.
I think the meeting ends.
It does, because she gets when she gets smacked and dies, she like stands up and is like holding her face and goes, oh! And the whole office just like looks at her, and she makes some excuse, and they decide they need to end the meeting. And so that starts happening. It's fine. They leave.
They're standing by the elevator waiting for it, and the auditor, the normal auditor in this normal universe. Starts walking in the general direction.
She looks pissed.
And she is getting nervous because she is under the impression now that, like...
She just killed her.
In a different universe, that woman just murdered her. And she's like, this is a multiverse threat. And the guy was like, someone's going to attack you soon. The moment... You'll know when the moment is right to fight back. And, like... She just goes out of her way and punches this auditor squarely in the nose.
As soon as she comes in within range, it just clocks her.
And the auditor's like, what the fuck?
It's just a normal person's reaction.
You just messed with the IRS. Like, nobody messes with an auditor.
So she like calls up security, and it starts to escalate into a bigger deal. And then we get the return of the husband.
He snaps back out of it. Snaps into being like possessed by the Alpha universe version of himself. And he's like, don't worry, I'll figure this out.
He verse hops or verse jumps.
He eats a whole stick of chapstick.
He slowly pulls it out of his fanny pack and then like pulls it out and unrolls it so slowly, and then
he just eats it and then taps his earpiece, does like a spaz out, and then all of a sudden he knows like super good kung fu.
Something.
He takes his fanny pack off. He's swinging it around like one of those ball on a chain weapons.
He uses it as a perfect weapon. Like
I forget what that weapon is called. They use it in Kill Bill.
I know what you're talking about, but
they can. It's like on a rope, and he can like kick it, and he's like just beating the crap out of these security guards. What happens next? How does there's so much happen in this movie?
So much happened. Also, like, which is crazy, like, not a crazy amount happened.
Depending on your interpretation of the events of the movie.
So what? He beats the shit out of all of them.
They end up in like a sort of deserted office and then like start getting pursued again by
that's when
more
Joby Toteki or whatever.
Jobu.
Yeah, Jobu Totaki or
Tanaka or something. Yeah.
That's when she starts to show up, right?
No, I don't think it's quite this early. That's in an alternate universe. She's hunting down versions of the mom. But in their universe that they're in, they do start getting pursued by like the auditor again and like the more security team.
Oh,
people.
Yeah.
And they're like crawling around in the office building.
Mm-hmm.
It's very reminiscent of the movie Matrix.
Yes,
The Morpheus on the phone scene.
Yeah.
Where he's like guiding him how to make the right moves.
Yeah.
That's like what this husband character is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like guiding them through because he's got someone in his ear through the earpiece.
Yeah, he's sitting in a little van in the Alpha universe with like 3 other people.
He's got a van guy.
Yeah,
he's got a
sure.
tech squad.
Yeah.
And they're like guiding these two through the office building. And he's slowly like explaining to her as they go, like what this technology is.
Yeah.
He's like, you have to, all these universes are like connected to each other. And the further you get from your universe, the more different it is from your universe. So the ones that are right next to you, maybe one detail is different. But the bigger of a jump, the more change you'll notice. And what they try to do is identify a nearby universe that has a variant of you that has a useful skill.
Yes, for their like the immediate situation.
So what they can do with the technology is verse jump. And when you verse jump, you absorb the memories and experiences and skills of the person that you're like fusing with.
Yeah.
And you now possess that in whatever your universe you're still in.
Yeah, so like if you fuse with a ballet dancer, you could do ballet. You know, that sort of thing.
Again, it's very Matrix.
Yes.
It's like upload. I know Kung Fu. Upload the helicopter pilot subroutine.
Yeah.
And now you can fly a helicopter. So like you can identify useful skills and upload them to yourself in essentially real time.
Yes.
The twist is, in order to make the jump, you have to like break the algorithm of the multiverse by doing something weird.
Yeah, something like irrational. Like something that would just like be so out of the box for your normal reality to ever jive with. Like
jumping on a butt plug.
Like full jump, legs curled up,
dude,
landing naked on a butt plug.
Slow motion action shot of this guy with no pants or underwear on, jumping through the air,
landing
butthole first onto a butt plug.
It's just an IRS trophy too that looks like a butt plug. Yeah, dude.
She's like, you don't get this these butt plug trophies by being nice.
Yeah, I was seeing some bullshit.
Yeah. So you got to do something weird or wacky, and different things will like access you to different local universes. And the tech team in the van is like telling them, okay,
what to do.
If you want to get to the Kung Fu person, you need to eat the chapstick or whatever thing. So you get this whole sequence of like extremely wacky comedic actions leading to an influx of like new skills.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's so many things happen in that sense, like so many different actions, all that stuff, all the different verse hopping, that it's like I could not keep track, no matter what. I would have had to write them all down. There was like 75 or something like that.
I want to take a pause on the plot to just mention that there's a ton of movie references in this movie.
So many.
I wrote a couple down.
Yeah.
The Matrix we already went over. I forget which one it is, but if you've ever seen Snatch or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, they're Guy Ritchie, like, crime movies. There's a scene in one of those where one of the gangsters, like, beats a guy to death with a big rubber dildo.
I feel like that's Snatch.
I feel like it is, too, because it's the diamond heist one. Yeah. He beats someone to death with the dildos. And then in this movie, they're doing, like...
Dual dildo
wielding. And it was just a pretty clear like callback to that. There's 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What was the context that was taking place in? It was like a different evolution. The hot dog fingers. There's an alternate universe where everyone has hot dogs instead of fingers, just like limp.
Dude, they're like
wiggly.
They're like this long, wiggly fingers, and everybody has them. And they get good to using their feet to do normally.
They play piano with their feet.
But yeah, they show like from an evolutionary perspective, like the different fucking apes like beating each other with their hot dog fingers.
It's just the classic early obelisk scene from 2001.
Yeah.
Except all the apes have hot dog fingers. It's hilarious.
Oh my god.
This is a much better multiverse movie than any of the Marvel movies.
I think this is the best multiverse movie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've seen any multiverse movies outside of Marvel.
Yeah.
Or this.
I guess you're probably right.
Not sure that I have.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I wrote in big old letters, the multiverse done right.
Yeah, this is the multiverse done right.
Fun. It's supposed to be fun. With infinite possibilities, you're supposed to have fun with it.
Yes.
You know?
They take it very seriously. Like, they have absurd comedy.
Absurd.
They have deadly serious emotional moments.
Yeah.
Tragedy.
The rock scene.
Existentialism. Absurdism.
Yeah.
Nihilism, like every philosophical ism is somehow like represented in this movie at different times,
and like not taken lightly either. You know, it's not like they're just like throwing that in there to check it off a fucking list or something. Like whoever wrote this, my god,
bravo,
dude, my god,
really, really beautiful.
Yes. So I mean, we get introduced to the daughter right around there.
The multi-version, the multivariant.
So here's the big twist.
Right.
The dark force spreading through the multiverse is Evelyn's own daughter from Alpha
universe.
Yep. So Evelyn created the technology and sadly used it on her own daughter to the point where her mind fractured.
Yeah.
And she experiences every single one of her variants at the same time.
Yeah, she goes beyond the limits and she basically knows everything that's possible.
Mm-hmm. She can also manipulate matter fully, which is crazy.
Yeah. I was trying to wrap my head around how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine so she could just, because she's experiencing every single thing.
Which means she has every single infinite variance, like skills, powers, expertise.
Exactly.
And that includes like, we're talking about variations of like animated worlds,
everything,
cartoon worlds,
yes, 2D worlds,
versions of the universe where both her and her mom are just two piñatas hanging from a tree next to each other, talking, getting hit.
Versions where life didn't develop, and they are literally just rocks.
So I guess that's where the powers come from, because in an infinite universe,
she could be holding a sword in any of those infinite possibilities.
Anything is possible.
Just come back into that universe real quick.
So she's essentially just infinitely powerful, knowledgeable. And the thing that makes her the multiversal threat is that she believes that nothing matters.
Yes. So she's a full nihilist, essentially.
Yeah, she's a full nihilist, and she has there's nothing motivating her.
Yeah.
There's also nothing stopping her from doing anything. So she's like essentially just floating through the universe, doing anything on a whim.
Yeah. Anything on a whim, and also experiencing everything and nothing all at the same time.
Right. She's completely broken from a human perspective.
Yeah. Something that our minds cannot resonate with.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is the perspective that we're given by these Alpha universe verse jumpers that are trying to like stop her.
Yeah.
We will learn more about what it's like to be a multiversal god and how that shapes your understanding of this character
and what you do with that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But yeah, the whole first chapter is called Everything. And it's a long sequence of the mother character like mastering the ability to verse jump, absorbing more and more and more powers, successfully like fighting her way through all of these like hunters.
Yeah. Escaping from the daughter, and then the daughter
Yeah.
comes. They search her out there. They have a bunch of crazy scenes for a little while. They escape her again, or she just leaves.
Oh, I guess plot-wise, it's important to say that. So there's an interaction between the daughter Joy and the mom, where the mom realizes that, okay, this person, she's everywhere at all times. She knows everything, and she believes nothing matters. And she hatches this idea that, like, if she can gain the same power, then as long as she can remain intact, she can defeat her, and that's how I'll save my universe.
Yeah.
But by doing so, she is also going past the limits of safety.
She's gonna ruin her mind.
All of these alpha universe people turn on her.
Yes.
And that's sort of what's happening in this sequence. She's fighting them because they are trying to stop her from becoming a second.
We can't have
Jobu.
two threats.
Yeah.
Jobu Tataki.
They're like, you're just going to become another Jobu Tataki and you're going to destroy us all. So we have to stop you. You've lost the thread of all of this. But she becomes more powerful than them because she's being reckless, kind of.
Yeah, for sure.
And is that when we get to chapter 2?
So everywhere. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's really
Should we
close.
talk about the everything bagel first?
Yeah, because it does get introduced. Because
At the end of everywhere.
Yeah, the Alpha universe thinks that she's created like a black hole to like suck up everything. I guess
even more than energy and matter. Like
like every dimension, every universe, everything.
They think her like technology is going to destroy the multiverse,
and she's like built herself like this like crazy white castle thing with a weird cult,
like a cosmic palace.
Yeah, and with like in the middle of this like almost like pantheon sort of looking thing, there's just a big old door with flowing white curtains. She like offers to show her mom the truth, and behind those curtains is a bagel.
She starts telling her a story. She's like after a while in the multiverse, I decided to put everything on a bagel, and this is obviously just like so tongue in cheek from the writer and the creator.
Course.
It's such a mundane thing in our universe. But for this person, take it literally, the concept of putting everything on a bagel, right? Like everything. Truly literally.
Yeah.
Everything in the universe in all dimensions.
From the dead space to the atoms and
on
everything.
A bagel.
Everything that's, on every scope, everything is on that bagel.
She says, I put everything on a bagel and I saw the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth was that nothing mattered.
Yep.
And everything is possible and permissible. There's no rules. And when she puts everything on a bagel, she becomes a total nihilist.
Yeah. Then we enter Act 2, everywhere.
Yes.
So now Mom is experiencing everything.
So she dies at the end of Act 1.
Yes.
Her main sort of vessel that we've been following this whole time is killed. And when that happens, her consciousness splits back into all the other universes she's touched this far.
Yes.
Which is many. It's not all of them yet, but it's like so many.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to expand, I believe. At some point we see on the app,
it totally
every node in the multiverse goes red. So at some point in this act, she is everywhere, truly, and that's why it's called this. But she goes to all the consciousnesses she's touched so far and starts experiencing them simultaneously.
Yeah. Unable to really focus on any of them.
Right.
Because it's just like you'll have like 7 to 20 seconds and then it's on to the next one. And then on to the next one.
She's an opera singer. She's an action movie star, kung fu expert.
She's back in her old life.
She's a hibachi chef.
Yeah.
There's a great scene within her hibachi chef universe where she's as a viewer we're seeing like all these flits through the different universes.
It's so fast.
And we see this like 8-second window as a hibachi chef, and as it's switching back and forth, the character, it's messing with the characters like in their universe, and she spills her sauce on a customer, and the boss comes over. He's like, I'm giving your shifts to Jonathan over there, whatever his name was. He's like, you spill any more sauce, I'm giving your shifts over to Jonathan. And the camera pans over, and you see him just like flawlessly.
Dude.
He's like throwing onions and slicing them. He's like, ho, 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 ho,
Dude,
ho.
like literally like popping like 6 shrimp in the air and like smacking them with a spatula into people's mouths. And just ridiculous.
Top tier, best in the multiverse level hibachi grilling.
Absolutely.
So just hang on to that.
Yeah.
Because there's an incredible twist coming.
No shit. Oh.
But we see her go into every universe.
Yeah, that she had already touched.
Yeah, and I think what's happening now is that the daughter Joy, the cosmic threat, is suddenly like not hostile anymore.
Yeah.
And she's starting to like pop up in different universes because she can go to all of them as well. Well, she is currently in all of them.
Yeah.
She's just everywhere. And she's like starting to explain that her goal was never to kill her or to destroy the multiverse. She wanted to push her into becoming this way so that she would have someone to relate to.
Yeah, so they could, didn't have to experience it alone.
Yeah, she's so lonely.
Yeah.
Despite knowing everyone in the universe.
Everything and everyone. She's like completely alone.
There's no one that can feel the way she feels.
Yeah, there's just no relation. You can't.
So she's on this journey to like push her mother to become like a version of her so that she has like a partner in crime. It's just someone she can talk to. And
yeah. And it really chills out for a little while. I mean, they start...
It becomes like much more introspective and philosophical. It's not an action movie anymore. It's more like an existentialist poem.
Yeah, and that's like the first time we get the rock scene, right? And stuff like that.
Beautiful scene.
Dude, crazy. With just the text is perfect.
Yeah. So you go into this scene at the tail end of a chaotic montage of all of these. You're like flipping the channel on all these universes, and it's going faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
The lights are crazy. The music is frenetic. You're seeing 100 faces a second.
Literally, like hundreds of different sets. Like it'll just be like a tenth of a second or something, or maybe like 0.5 seconds of just like her in like a snow-capped mountain, and then her in like totally different uniform or whatever with just like in a green pasture. Just all these different lives. Just so fast. It's such a cool sequence. And then it stops.
It gets loud, and then it gets quiet, and you're looking over like a desolate, rocky landscape, sort of like maybe Arizona.
Yeah. No life.
Yeah, dead. It's just 2 big boulders on the edge of a cliff looking over like a canyon. And it's silent, and it's just quiet for a little while. And then all of a sudden, text pops up on the screen above one rock.
I couldn't even tell you what it said, unfortunately.
Right. Verbatim, it's going to be impossible, but the gist of it is the first rock silently with text only says to the other rock, "I'm so glad you're here. We've made it." And then the other one's like, "What is this place? Like, this is a version of Earth where life never developed. Actually, most places in the universe are like this."
Yeah.
And then the rock's like, "Whoa, cool." And it's just a completely silent scene. It's static. Like, nothing is changing in the scene other than a little bit of the light moving.
Yeah, and then the text.
And the text. And you're seeing this silent conversation between 2 rocks talk about how beautiful a lifeless planet is.
Yeah.
And that they get to just appreciate this moment. And she's like, "What do we do?" She's like, "Just be a rock.
Yeah, be happy and just be
Sit here and be a rock with me." And you have this moment in your head as a viewer, sort of, that you realize, okay, now I get the everywhere all at once concept. Like, these rocks exist, and so do the thousands of other frames we just blasted through. They're all taking place concurrently.
All the same
They're
time.
all equally real and equally like self-important. And there's no way of privileging one over the other.
Yeah.
There's no like frame of reference on
Not
a
at all.
multiverse
Yeah.
that makes sense. It's just all of it is real and all of it is happening right now. And in an infinite universe, that means everything that's possible is happening.
Yeah. And yet they can just be rocks too.
They're just rocks on a lifeless planet, just
Yeah.
like talking with text about existentialism.
Yeah. It's about smaller and smaller pieces of shit.
Yeah, like every time you see something new, it reminds you that you're a small little piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to find something new again, to feel like I'm even a smaller piece of shit next time.
Yeah.
It's very cheeky and like coy.
It is, but it's also a very beautifully done
Yes.
scene.
It's
Yeah.
like kind of somber and,
Yeah.
and poetic.
Yeah. Such a nice opposition to what we just saw too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, it goes from pure chaos straight into that. Man, this movie's hard to explain.
It's really convoluted
Yeah.
in terms of just like verbally explaining.
Yeah,
it.
like what actually happens, you know? It's like
It's not that hard to follow when you're watching it.
No, it's really
but
not.
it is hard to explain.
Yeah.
There is a moment in here where they are going to see the everything bagel, and the daughter has not yet gone into the bagel. She's been waiting for someone to come with her into the bagel.
Yeah.
And now she believes that she's got the right partner to do it, and she wants the two of them to enter the bagel together and like see what's on the other side. Do we erase everything? Or because she says she wants to die.
Yeah. She just wants to, not exist
Yeah.
in any universe.
She's like, I want to actually be able to die.
Yeah.
And she thinks maybe by going into the everything bagel, like everything will cease to exist. It's like a reset button or like a delete button. And
Because
the
nothing
mom
matters.
character like starts experiencing hesitation and like resists. And I wrote down, if nothing matters, everything matters. And I think that's the dichotomy that you're being shown through these two characters.
For sure.
And that's sort of like if you talk to like a deeply religious person, for example, like they tend not to understand how a person can have a value system outside of like a God or a theological
nothing would matter.
doctrine.
Yeah.
They're like, how can you be moral if you don't have rules or whatever? Like people say that all the time. Christians will say it.
That shit bugs me.
And it's
Moral,
just like-
that specifically bugs me.
Yeah, that
Like,
specific
just be
version
a
is
good
annoying.
Person. But yeah, no, I understand though.
But it's like you're starting to see how if you're an existentialist thinker, you might be able to establish your own internally consistent moral framework based on your own value system.
Yeah, you make the judgments.
Despite or perhaps because of a lack of external validation
Yeah.
or external meaning. And for the daughter, she became a nihilist, but for the mother, she becomes something else, more just a standard existentialist. Like, I still see a lot of value in this, and she keeps reaching back into the other universes.
Yeah, it's very hard for her to let go, especially when she starts to focus in on what her husband actually brings to her.
Yeah,
what
like
he
the
needs.
emotional connections.
Yeah.
You start seeing like pops back into other universes where she realizes that her husband in the original universe was like getting ready to divorce her because she's been very cold and distant and he needs love and she's not getting
Yeah.
it to
Well, and
him.
she also just doesn't seem happy. You know,
Yeah,
so-
she's very anxious and unhappy.
He doesn't think he's providing it for her either, you know?
And so you get these like really somber, wistful moments of like a sense of deep loss and regret as she's revisiting every choice she's ever made in all her
In
universes.
every universe.
There's
That's the
so
crazy
many
part.
versions of her love story
Yeah.
with her husband.
Yeah.
there's a particularly poignant one where, so in the original universe that we see, they got together back in China
as kids,
as teenagers,
yeah.
and her father like disowns her
Mm-hmm.
because she decides to go with this kid to America. And he's like, if you go with him, you're not my daughter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And she does. And they end up at the laundromat.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've
that
been
line.
through that.
Oh,
but in this universe
God.
that she's revisiting, they never got together. She went on her own and became a successful movie star and a kung fu expert.
Yeah.
And he just went on his own and became like a businessman who's like well dressed. You don't get great details on what he does.
It's not really
not
matter.
important.
Yeah.
But they re-meet in this universe as successful people. And she's saying like she wants to, I don't know, like give it a chance.
Try it out.
Love with him. And she explains how like in some other universe, because she's sort of like breaking the fourth wall of this universe.
For sure.
She's like, in our other life when we got together as kids, we just ended up
doing laundry
and paying taxes.
Yeah.
And there's a line like a little later where it cycles back to this, and he says, in another life, I believe I would have loved to just do laundry and taxes with you every day of my life.
Yep. Oh, that line hits too.
It just hits, man.
It's just it doesn't, because like, you know, if you do really love someone like that, it's not important the outside noise. It's to do laundry and taxes is perfectly enough.
It's the meaning of life, guys. I wrote down here when that scene happened. I actually wrote this right before the scene, and then it happened, and I was like, I'm so right. But I wrote down the banality of life is superseded by love. So like if you have a boring, pathetic, unfulfilling life, you've ever thought that about yourself, this movie will make you cry and realize that you have it all. Everything you need is right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's just like
it's a perception
powered by love and understanding. There's scenes where she is learning to love her daughter or like appreciate who her daughter is as a young woman.
Yeah, there's always something to love. That line too.
Yeah.
When she's talking to her. Ugh.
I got they don't like overtly address it or say it, but I got sort of undertones of suicide prevention through understanding and love. Like there's scenes where the daughter wants to be let go by the mother. She's like, we just make each other furious. Just let me go. And then it cuts back to the Rock universe, and the Rock, like now, like the mom Rock has eyes, and she's like inching closer to the other rules. Rock. And she's like, you can't move. Don't do that. She's like, there's no rules. And she's coming closer to the daughter Rock, and the daughter Rock's like, get away from me, and starts inching towards the cliff. And she's running to the cliff. And I just got this profound sense that like, if only you could learn to accept your daughter for who she was, you would, in some of these universes, like prevent her suicide or like prevent her from hating herself.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you know, like the love that the unconditional love that a parent can give to the child, like is what shapes their sense of self-worth and love for themselves. Like all of this is taking place like in my mind and heart while I'm watching this movie.
And it's just chaos too on the screen.
in a matter of like minutes.
I know.
Right? This movie had a profound ability to like evoke within me deep like emotional resonance.
Oh yeah.
Like Kaylin, my wife, comes home like towards the end of the movie, and I just like felt like I had to go hug her and tell her I love her like so much.
Yeah.
Like this movie will make you like appreciate everything.
Everything.
If it doesn't, you're a psychopath.
Hell yeah.
That's the Quiet in the Back promise.
That is.
So you get sort of to what would the climax of the movie be? The confrontation between when she fully like refuses to enter the everything bagel.
Yeah.
It becomes a fight again. Right?
Yep.
And
And so then all of the alpha guys are trying to stop her again too, because they want her to just kill herself in the bagel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want the daughter to.
Because maybe it'll stabilize the universe or something, but they can't tolerate this anymore. It's like a huge fight again. And the husband actually turns the tides, and he's like, you always thought that I was weak or that I wouldn't fight for our love or something like that. He's like, but this is how I fight. And he's like, just hugs her. He's like, I'm stronger than you know. And he has this whole passionate speech.
How he fights people with kindness.
And she's like, I'm going to learn how to fight like you. And she starts fixing everyone's lives.
Yeah.
She starts traveling through like every universe and learning about these people, like what motivates them, what they need, what's unfulfilled in them. And she's using that knowledge in all other universes to like defeat these people in this big fight by like healing their pain.
Just doing some of the craziest shit too.
Yeah. And let's talk about Rakakuni.
Rakakuni is the hibachi chef.
The hibachi chef that was so flawless.
Yeah.
She visits that universe again, and you see him in the back kitchen with a raccoon on top of his head, pulling his hair just like Ratatouille.
Yeah, but it's Rakakuni.
It's Rakakuni. And she sees him, and he's like, you weren't supposed to know that I have a raccoon.
She's seen too much.
And like the authorities come and
take him away.
I guess technically this happened a little earlier before her awakening.
Yeah, but
the authorities take away the Rakakuni. The
Rakakuni.
But now in this moment, she's like helping him go after the raccoon and get him back.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'll never be able to do it. I can't get him. And she's like,
get on my back.
What does she say to him? It's so great. Oh, he's like, I'll never be, he's like despairing because he doesn't have his raccoon. He's like, before Rakakuni entered my life, I didn't know how to do anything. He taught me how to cut an onion. I can't do it alone. And she's like, it's a good thing. You're not alone. And then she jumps on top of his shoulders and starts piloting him by his hair and chasing the car.
Ugh, beautiful.
It's so like patently absurd, but at the same time, like deeply emotional.
Yeah, I mean, she's like actually really trying to
she's
help all
really
these people.
like saving their lives.
Yeah, doing exactly what she needs to do in that moment.
So she's defeating nihilism with love.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. She's giving value back to the universe. And you have a series of scenes where like she is like learning to appreciate her family, like really for what they're worth. And you can tell that like the relationship between her and her husband is being healed.
Yeah. Because we're still seeing like the different cuts of her husband in the different universes.
Yeah.
She's like making him give it a chance, and her actually trying.
The daughter and the mother coming together and sobbing and reconciling their differences. And she's saying like, I'm such a mess. Every time you're around me, we have all these problems. Why do you even want to be here? You could be anywhere else. And the mom's like, yeah, I could be going and doing anything that I want to do.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
She's like, this doesn't make sense, but I want to be wherever you are. And that's like the essence of love and family. It's like, I just want to be with you.
That's all that really matters, you know?
Yeah, and they're like, they break down and cry. And she asks the dad, she's like, how could you like give me up so easily when I was younger? How could you give me up? And she refuses to like let that happen to her daughter. It's like just this cathartic healing moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the all at once chapter. Is like that final healing moment.
Definitely. I mean, that's like back at the laundromat. They're doing their little Chinese New Year party and such.
Yeah, she's got the karaoke machine.
Yeah, and it's a whole bunch of shit goes down. But yeah, it ends in that end sequence of the daughter's discussion out there. Fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. It's I'm gonna say ratings. This is gonna be my first 10.
Absolutely.
I'm giving it a 10.
Yeah.
This
Hard
one
10.
broke the ceiling for me of like what I thought a film could do.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we watched it. That's so sick.
It really did.
Yeah.
This is a one-of-a-kind movie.
Oh my God, absolutely. There's nothing that even touches this if you're going to like talk about scope or like the way it's shot and like what they must have had to do.
Dude,
oh my God.
The organizational skills
Yeah.
of the editors and like directors of photography and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
I just like.
it's almost easier to write this movie than it is to make this movie, if that makes sense.
Could you imagine?
They have
one person 100 years.
they have thousands of universal variants to film. Like that's backstories, costume, settings, wardrobe, like all of this is happening
Styles too. Like,
in
just like
in thousands of universes, and then you have to sequence that into a cohesive timeline to tell a story.
yeah.
Dude,
and like
it boggles my mind.
a lot of it looked like decently practical too, like especially like the outfits and stuff like that. I think the costume design was off the his A with this thing.
Also, like, we didn't even touch on the actual sort of like the cinematography and the visual effects.
It's just all top notch. It was all.
I don't even want to like try to describe it.
No, it's just top of the class. Like
you got to watch this movie to believe it. You got to see it to believe
good as it gets, really. You know, like that's just like in pretty much every single aspect. The acting, phenomenal across the board. Every single person is just
so much passion, emotion, but like comedic timing, dry sense of humor.
Everything, heartbreak, the anger that's expressed.
It's so universal. It's like
so easy. So much of it is so easy to relate to. Yeah. You know, too, like every part of it. It's
truly
awesome.
correctly titled.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah.
It's like watching this movie is kind of like I feel like it's the closest that a human mind can get to like enlightenment or like feeling like God in terms of like having a perspective shift.
In what sense?
You are like, you get this clarity moment of you know, the sort of like traditional sense of God according to the Christian Judeo religion says that he's like everywhere. He's omnipresent everywhere. He's omnipotent, so all powerful.
Yeah.
And omniscient, so all knowing. And that's essentially what you get two versions of in this movie, is like two gods with like competing perspectives.
Yeah.
But like if you take a shitload of ayahuasca or like mushrooms, you will like live out an experience that is similar to like what happens in this film.
Yeah, especially with like ayahuasca.
Like rebirth and witnessing your own death and birth cycles,
folly and everything.
The like complete annihilation of your ego, like expanding your consciousness like out into the universe and like seeing all of the like varieties of life possible, flashes of inspiration. Like you get all of that in this movie.
You really do, don't you? It's
trippy as hell, but like
it's so trippy.
That's just such a shallow way of describing it.
I mean, it's because you can't. I don't think it's really. It's just it's a viewing experience. Like you have to watch this movie and then really come to these conclusions on your own. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even maybe not these conclusions, but experience what you experience in the movie to yourself, because someone else telling you is not going to do it justice in whatever framework we have.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we have a certain background, philosophical background and historical context that we're like informing our experience of this movie
filter.
with.
Yeah.
I can imagine that if you are like from India and you grew up in like a Hindu tradition, and you have different beliefs about
reincarnation and such.
Yeah, like life cycles and karma, that watching this movie could mean very different things to you.
Certainly, yeah.
But that's sort of what I mean about like experiencing something close to feeling like godly or something. It's like so omnipresent.
Yeah.
It encapsulates like the totality of a human experience and a cosmic scale in a way where like,
how did you put that in a movie?
yeah, exactly.
How did
like,
you put that in a fucking movie?
I feel like any human being could watch this movie if it's translated correctly and cry, and laugh,
yeah,
and feel like they walk away from this experience like understanding life much better.
yeah. Just if not even just understanding it in a new perspective. You know.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That was a fucking cool movie.
it's extremely impactful.
We should look up who that director is.
And watch everything.
Everything
also, it's
they've
produced
ever made.
by the studio A24.
Gang, gang. Let's go.
Love A24.
Dude, so many bangers.
A24 and Spectre Vision are like top 2 right now for me.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
They're probably the only 2 that I'm like even aware of.
Yeah, that I pay attention to.
Yeah, that I'm
for
like
sure
impressed by, you know. Outside.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna just say like Warner Brothers or like MGM.
No,
you know?
that's stupid.
The big Hollywood ones like
Yeah.
Disney is not my favorite production studio.
A24 though keeps laying out bangers, dude.
Killing it.
Seriously, we should go through their catalog when we make our next list for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to just do like, I know we're kind of like, our viewers will know this by now too. We're off of the sort of like focused season of like, we did like all Nicolas Cage and we were talking about doing all Natalie Portman for a bit, for like 10 episodes. And we've got a few Natalie Portman movies still in here. We didn't remove them all, but like,
yeah, we already did one of them. Yeah.
We are on more of a just like anything goes year right now.
Yeah.
But I would love to just start going out of our way to throw in more Spectre Vision and more A24s.
100%. Just those smaller indie films, you know? I mean, and not necessarily like this was an indie film, but like it's just like separate from the big guys. It's gonna, you know,
these are creative works of art. Exactly. This is a high concept art.
Yes, seriously. And it's still made with a very large budget, you know, clearly.
Yeah.
But it's not being defined by the leagues of probably producers and all the bullshit that would not allow them to make this movie. Right. Dude, no fucking way if this was made at like Universal.
No, this was not like...
It's not possible.
This was not like focus group tested to become a certain way.
No, this was a vision.
Yeah, this is a singular vision of a profound thinker who like...
Or a group of writers or you know...
They had something to express and they fucking nailed it. Dude. But like, there was no compromise in the making of this movie. There was no like budgetary reason to like water it down.
No. It was just they made the movie the right way. And that's why it's Quiet in the Back's first fucking 10!
First 10! I don't know if we can get another 10, man.
I'm like thinking about the rest of the list and it's like, fuck, dude. I mean, there's gonna be another 10 for sure, but
that's the nature of a 10 is like you never see it coming.
Yeah.
Like I said, it sort of like broke through the ceiling of what I thought a movie could do.
Yeah.
Like this is next level.
Yeah, man. I'm so glad that we watched it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, that covers it for me. Fucking perfect, beautiful movie. They shouldn't have changed a thing, and they didn't.
And I'm so happy that I watched it.
Yeah. Yeah. Please, my God, I hope you watch this movie before we blabbered about it.
Please, before you go watch the movie, make sure you like our channel, subscribe, and then after you watch the movie, come back, drop us a line, tell us what you thought about it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no way that if you have a head on your shoulders, this doesn't blow that fucking head off. Dude. Not a chance. Not a fucking chance.
Tell us what your favorite universe was.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite universe might have been Rock Universe, but Hot Dog Fingers is a strong contender, and Raccacoonie, way up there for me.
Way up there. Mine has to be The Rock. It's too good. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. This has been Quiet in the Back.
Shh.
La ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba. Well, ba Multiverse living ain't easy. Anything can happen anytime. Gotta fight your daughter in the cosmos. Everything will happen at all times. She put everything on a bagel. Everything in the whole universe. Do something weird to gain a power. Do something weird to change your universe, like flying through the air and landing butt first on a dildo, on a dildo. Flying through the air and landing butt first on a dildo with hot dog fingers. Multiverse living ain't easy. Anything can happen anytime. Gotta cook hibachi in the cosmos. Everything will happen at all times. He was doing a ratatouille in the kitchen, but used a raccoon instead of a rat. Do something weird to gain a power. Break the algorithm, in fact, like flying through the air and landing butt first on a dildo, on a dildo. Flying through the air and landing butt first on a dildo with hot dog fingers. Multiverse living ain't easy. Anything can happen anytime. Gotta cook hibachi in the cosmos. Everything will happen at all times. He was doing a ratatouille in the kitchen, but used a raccoon instead of a rat. Do something weird to gain a power. Break the algorithm, in fact, like flying through the air and landing butt first on a dildo, on a dildo. Flying through the air and landing butt first on a dildo with hot dog